all you. Here with us, Mr. Abinash Kumar last year.
Thank you.
For us is like he scored more than 145 last 2 years in pre, and in mains 400 plus. So whatever issues that you have related to GS, either paper 1, 2, 3, 4 or pre, as well as the relevance of the economics survey or in general doubts that you can ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello friends, good morning. कितने लोग हैं जिन्होंने मेंस दिया इस बार? So, आवाज
You have to use it.
एक सेकंड प्लीज. Okay, some of you have already given mains this year or earlier also, huh? ठीक है. See, this economics, this section is very important, not just for paper 3 of mains or prelims or in interview also. Last year in prelims, how many questions were there in prelims from this economics section?
29.
Approximately 29. Yeah, Murnal has already said so, huh? So, and it was the highest from economics section. Not just core economics, it was some international relation mix and all. But all in all, there were 29 questions, somewhere around 30 questions from economics only. And it was the highest. Maybe it would be peak, it would be getting lesser than, particularly in this year. But in this whole scheme, how this economic survey would help us, okay? Any general queries that you guys have? Let's hear the queries first. It would help you because we have very less time, I guess 30-35 minutes. So any specific query that you would like to ask, maybe in terms of prelims or mains or anything, or in service.
How to use survey in mains, yes, you can ask actually.
ठीक है.
Sir, how to manage optional and list related, sir?
हाँ, what optional you have?
Economics.
Economics. Okay, all right. ठीक है.
Prelims related preparation.
Prelims related preparation. You're right. The most important.
The kind of questions which came after in international organizations now, they're going very in depth regarding the objectives and aims.
Some obscure international organization that we haven't heard much of till now. Yeah.
All these, like you can't even guess in the objectives because they all look possible.
Yes.
So
ठीक
how
है.
to select that these are the topics and then go into what depth next?
All right.
And sir, this science and technology portion, these days like many
Achha.
coaching institutes and also they are asking too many questions.
In prelims or mains?
Yeah, prelims. Sir.
Prelims.
So how to manage that portion, how much time we should spend
ठीक
on
है.
science and tech?
Science and tech specifically.
Medieval.
अच्छा, medieval, ठीक है. Culture, science and tech, these are the portions that you cannot be 100% sure of. ठीक है. So I guess the smart approach would be not to focus on them much. ठीक है. Because there are many sections that you can score, And culture I have been preparing, I thought I'm good in culture, I'll prepare. So I focused on all these, the materials that you hear of generally. But the questions, I could never get 100% correct questions. I generally have good marks in prelims, but culture, science and tech, that you cannot cover. In science and tech, if you talk about in mains also, you cannot cover the whole thing. So better to focus it on these portions relatively less. Because there are, other questions, somewhere around 80-90 other questions that you can score on. So better, for example, economics, politics and all those areas. So focus on them much. The smart approach would be this. Otherwise, you will be end up wasting a lot of time on these sections, thinking that, okay, these are the very new questions that I have covered. But the next year, the questions will be completely different. And culture is very, dynamic. If you say it's not just history. So better to cover ancient history, the old NCRT, and leave it to that. And this, the notes that we have, Singhania notes, or the book, the new book that has come. Okay, so culture, leave it at that only, or science and tech also. Just at the last moment, prelims 365 or mains 365 will come. So better to cover that and forget about it. Don't lose your sleep over science and tech and culture. Okay. When it comes to covering optionals, specifically optionals like economics and all, or maybe other science optionals, See, this optional that you have chosen, you must be having background of it, right? Economics. You do not have background. Then you need to work a bit harder, because covering optionals, is a bit different. In GS, you can take smart approach, covering the keywords and all that we will discuss. But in optional, no, you need to go in depth, because they will be asking thinkers, they will be asking theorems, and how those theorems is now applicable, how those theorems are changing over a period of time. So in covering optional would be, I won't be able to comment much on optionals like economy. I had public administration, so it's more related to GS. These optionals are relatively easy in covering, not very good in getting the marks and getting the selection. You might be getting good marks in economics, you will get selected, but covering those things will be harder. Okay, so better to ask some economics optional and all, because these optionals are very.
For any optional, sir, at what time you should give, for example, Williams is in June, sir.
Right.
So,
Okay.
what time we should start?
I think these, the current time that we have, 2 months, are the best time to cover your optionals. Otherwise, if you leave it after prelims, this will be a difficult thing then. Particularly optionals like economics or science or engineering options. Because better, you will be needing to give more time to this. Okay, to cover before prelims, and after prelims, go for test series and all. Okay, test series for optionals would be the most important thing. We'll discuss this. Okay. Any other questions?
Maintaining current, like staying in touch with current affairs and making notes and how one.
Okay, we'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. I have planned it. We'll discuss it.
मेंस पे आंसर राइटिंग करते हैं तो सर जैसे क्वेश्चन देखते हैं तो ब्लैंक हो जाते हैं एकदम बिल्कुल।
अच्छा, ठीक है.
Sir, how much time we should give to prelims only to focus on preparation?
ठीक है, we'll discuss it.
सर 10 मिनट में सर वो क्वेश्चन नहीं हो पाते, 10 मिनट लग जाते हैं।
ठीक है. I'll discuss it. It's a common problem. We'll discuss it. Very briefly, we'll go through.
Sir, little bit insight on essay.
ठीक है. We'll go through the essay. Anything?
Regarding ethics, how we should
Paper 4, huh? ठीक है. Chalo, we have enough of questions. The time is less, so we'll start. ठीक है. Coming to the prelims first. See, in prelims, the good thing and the bad thing have come with the recent changes. The good thing is you don't have to worry about the paper 2, so you can completely devote your time on paper 1. But the bad thing that every other people are doing the same. Okay? So the competition has also increased. So what you need to do is to, first of all, you need to try to attend all the questions, the maximum that you can attend. Maybe I am attempting somewhere around 98, 99, something like that. So the maximum that you attempt, the proportion, the probability of getting more marks will be increased. But there is a catch in this. The catch is you need to cover the basics. Otherwise, you go on, guessing, and all the questions, the answers will be wrong only. So the basics needs to cover. It's like putting 1. It's like this. The basics is covered. That means you have put 1. All right. And you start guessing. It will be like putting zeros. Okay? Otherwise, if this 1 is not there, this you start getting 0, 0, 0. That's it. Worse, it will get negative. Okay? So the basic needs to cover. It will be true in mains also. Okay? You write all the current affairs, all the jargons and all, but the basics is not there, then the problem will start. There also some kind of negative marking is there. Why? Because they generally what they do, if you have given garbage in first question or second question or third questions, the perceptions will be that the coming answers will be like that only. So you'll be getting negative marks in the subsequent questions. So basics needs to covered first. In prelims also, the basics are the very basic books. Keep it very simple in prelims. The books are very popular that you already know of. Like NCRT for geography, not for all subjects. Geography for ancient history. Spectrum or Bipin Chandra for modern history, the struggle for independence and all. So all these basics books just covered. Okay? No need to go hi-fi, all these materials and all. Just cover the basic books, go through multiple times. But remember all the facts. The discussions like in this question, in this topic, what are the main questions that has been asked. ठीक है, so cover the basics first. You know, this probably for many of us this is the first attempt. This would be the first attempt maybe. So these basics that I am talking about, no, this is most important. Not just prelims. There was one question: how much time to give to prelims and how much for mains. You know, forget about prelims and mains. You know, first cover these all basic books. ठीक है? Cover it maybe 2-3 times. These will be like, you know, in management and public administration we read hygiene factors. The basic that hygiene factors that you need to cover is this. ठीक है? After that you will be building all the building blocks after this. But if this is missing, no, the foundation has to be there. So this is one point that I wanted to make. And this has to be done, in the first moment itself. This has to be done. For prelims and mains also this will help, because in Lakshmikant will help in mains also. How? Because you will be remembering some of the articles, like for example governor question, you will be remembering 155, 156, 163 on all. Over a period of time you will remember all these articles. ठीक है? For fundamental rights, DPSP, because these are the topics which is very important in prelim, mains, all these. ठीक है? Similarly for modern history, similarly for other things. So basics, we are covering the basics first, and then managing current affairs. You know, for prelims also this has become very important. And for this we are doing this vision material. I'll just list out the materials that I generally, and many people of those who are giving mains repeatedly are covering this much only, not much. Vision, the current affairs material, and the test series that they are conducting. ठीक है? Not specifically PT, but especially for mains. No need to enroll them, in their test series. The materials are already available in the market. You just take them and do that. ठीक है? Generally, we do this. And then insights also we cover the secure compilation that we have. I'm just listing material for mains also. ठीक है? We have less time, so we'll cover simultaneously. And the government materials that we generally cover, I think you know all these things. I'm just listing out already. Like economic survey, the India yearbook, no need. ठीक है? And few reports that will be seeing, जो भी नए आते हैं उस टाइम. ठीक है? जैसे पिछले बार पे कमीशंस के रिपोर्ट थे, फिर जो पॉपुलर रिपोर्ट है पुंची कमीशन सरकार है, उनके स्पेसिफिक रिकमेंडेशन, रिपोर्ट पूरी नहीं जानी है, वो क्वेश्चंस में ऑलरेडी विल सी इन दिस टेस्ट सीरीज. नो, यू विल सी दैट फॉर सरकारिया दीज आर द रिकमेंडेशन दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर. फॉर एग्जाम्पल गवर्नर, सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशन एंड ऑल. एंड द बेसिक्स दैट आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड, इट्स मस्ट बी देयर एवरीवेयर. ठीक है? I think this much only. I might be forgetting one or two, but keep it very simple for mains, prelims, all thing. Okay? This will help in all. In prelims, I have been getting some fortunately good marks. And the key is to attempt all the questions, cover basics. These 2 points I have already covered. And this test series for prelims is also very important. I'll tell you why. This art of guessing will come from 2 things. First, that you have the idea of this basics. ठीक है? Second, you have attempted this test series a lot of time. It's like verbal communication that we have. I tell you something, by the tone of it you understand whether it's correct thing, it's right, wrong, or something like that. Because we have been doing this conversation since for 20 years, 30 years, that you understand the tone of it. Similarly, if you attempt a lot of test series, you will understand the tone of question. UPSC is not, that some completely different questions will be there. It will be from these test series only, or whatever you have studied. So you'll understand the tone of question only when you have attempted this test series. Alright. So there the guessing will help, and it will multiply your scores. ठीक है? Otherwise you keep on guessing, and बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि मैंने जितने guess किए wrong ही हुए, because there could be some lacking. Either the basics is a bit not covered, or they have not attempted multiple test series. So I think 8 or 10 test series or 8 or 10 tests will be more than enough, not much. Okay? Not go on attempting 20, 30 or something like that. So this is, I think, about prelims. Anything about the prelims? Any more specific query if you have about prelims? General science, I would say leave it. General science, how many questions are coming from general science? Let me see. Not much. You know general science already, yeah. So I don't think much questions are coming from general science. Let me see. Science and Tech last year 11 question. Previous to that in 2015 9, 13. 10, 11 questions will come. Out of this 10, 11 you will be doing this, 4, 5 questions you will be able to do on its own. Leave the rest 4, 5. Okay? Just do some guessing, and prelims 365 and mains 365 you anyway will be doing. Okay? This current affairs and 365 or whatever material that you are referring will always be there in the market. So I think one or two more questions. And leave the rest. Science and Tech you won't be able to cover. I have always said this, that because of those 4 or 5 questions, you will be losing 10 questions on other parts, because time is very limited, So leave those sections, I think. Similarly for culture, 11 questions last year, before 3, 14, 8, so not much. Okay? Ancient history do, because see, culture is important. And why it is highlighted? No, because you are not able to attempt those questions. So you think, oh, culture part was a lot more and could not attempt, I must cover culture. It gets more highlighted, if you attempt test series and all. But if you see the figures and all, and the return on investment of time and all those things that you are giving is very less. You cannot be 100% sure that I have given this much of time and I'll be able to get something out of it. So leave culture and history. Not exactly leave it, but definitely do not focus it on much. This is I would say, because there are no specific materials also, yeah. Okay?
So in terms of test series, how many test series or how many questions or tests would you suggest?
Okay. See, there are two approach. When you are covering the basics, I forget to tell you this. That the question bank that we have, right? Whenever you read a topic, let's say for example you are reading in economics only, okay? You are reading public finance, banking and all, okay? So go through that question bank, the 2-3 questions that bank KBC and all we already have. So related to this topic only, they have classified the questions which have been asked in the prelims and all. So cover those questions at the same time. Whenever you are going through the topic, it will be 100% sure then that from public finance you won't be missing a question in the exam. Okay? And plus you will be knowing that in public finance what are the concrete questions, what are the debates that has been in the market. Okay? So covering this question bank or any material that we have for PT prelims, the MCQs. Okay? TMH and all are coming with MCQs and all. So cover this MCQs then and there. It will help immensely. And you just have to do 1 or 2 times. Okay, question bank. Beyond that you will remember these are the questions which have been asked and this is the answer. So just cover 1 or 2 times when you are covering the basics. You will know the topic very well. It will be, see, generally what happens, if you go through one topic you will say, okay, this topic is covered. But that does not happen really. You go to the next topic and you will forget it. But if you solve the questions at the same time, not all questions, maybe some of them, then the whole topic will be very much clear in your mind that what are the main topics, what are the main nuances which is there in the topic, right?
And did you also revise these MCQs, specifically the MCQs? If you've done
MCQ, because we have been giving since last 3-4 years. So as I said, once you are done with 1 or 2 times, you will remember the question. So if you go through the question bank, then without reading you will say, okay, this is the answer. On 2014 this was the ask and this is the answer. and from this topic which it has been asked. So 1 or 2 time revision will be more than enough. Okay? And the number of test series that you asked, I think 8-10 test series will be optimal. Okay? Less than that, you will be missing some part, you will not have that much of practice. Okay? And guessing, as you are saying, because 100% question will not come from whatever study you do. The quantum of study you do will not, all the questions will not come from your books or the syllabus or the materials that you have. And even if it comes, the options will be so confusing, that you need to guess. Okay? 1 or 2 options you will be eliminating because of whatever you have studied. 1 or 2 questions because of this test series, the tone of questions, the debates which is going on, you'll be able to eliminate. Okay? And finally you'll get the answer. So this whole practice goes like this only. Nobody is sure that I have attempted 98 questions and 90 will be correct. Nobody is sure. Okay? We are sure only in 30-40 questions, not beyond that. Okay? So I think this is about prelims.
And how much should be the attendance?
Maximum that you can do. Keep on increasing after test series. Okay? In first test series, you may be attempting somewhere around 60-70 questions, not beyond that. Okay? But try to attempt, once you cover the basics, you will see, give it some chance. Okay? That I'll attempt more. In test series, you can afford that at least. Okay? Attempt some 10 questions that you are sure of at least 1 or 2 options. That ये तो सही नहीं है. ठीक है? ऐसे करके कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. कभी कभी क्या होता है गेसिंग में, हम लोग फर्स्ट जो कट करते हैं ना कि ये तो बिल्कुल गलत है, वही आते हैं आंसर्स, है ना. बट ये होते हैं. ठीक है? तो वो धीरे धीरे हो जाएंगे. ऐसा नहीं कि फर्स्ट बार आप टेस्ट सीरीज दिया आपने, फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड टेस्ट सीरीज, एंड फाइनली यू आर एबल टू डू इट ऑल राइट. दैट विल नॉट हैपन. इवन इन एग्जाम्स हम लोग भी जो चेक करते हैं या टिक करते हैं, वो ऐसा नहीं कि हमें भी 190 मार्क्स आ जाते हैं, 190, वी डू नॉट गेट इट. ठीक है? तो सबके गलत होते हैं. 150, 140 इज वेरी गुड मार्क्स इन प्रीलिम्स. इफ यू आर गेटिंग इट, more than that is not required because the marks is anyway not adding into the final marks. ठीक है? Anything for prelims?
So for basics, as you suggested, the NCERTs of geography books. So that GC Leong is also required.
GC Leong is very good also. I personally have not covered it beyond that climate chapter. But GC Leong, many people are doing it and it's a very good book. If you are
to be devoted only for experiment for prelims.
Prelims, see, generally what we do, I'll tell you first, we read for 1 month, specifically for prelims. Let's say in June we have exam this year, no? So I'll start from May. Okay? But generally what you specifically for prelims, giving test series and all for prelims, covering all those spectrum and all, will be for you guys, I think 2-3 months, not more than that. 2.5 months, something like that. Specifically for prelims, forgetting mains, forgetting essay and all, will be just 2 and 3 months only, not more than that. But the basics and all has to be covered first, not just in 2-3 months. In this 2-3 months, you will be doing revision, okay, test series, and this question bank and all. Okay? The covering basic will somewhere around, how much time it takes to cover basics? 4 months, right? 4 months, 5 months or something like that. So if you have done this already, beforehand you have done this, then 2-3 months will be more than enough. Beyond that you should not give, otherwise there is no benefit because you won't be able to clear mains then. Even if you clear, you will get interview call and finally the selection will not happen. Okay? So I think, is it reasonable 2-3 months, right? So beyond that, I don't think you should give much time. And beyond that is not required even. Okay? What will you do in beyond this year? 2-3 months? I don't think, because you will be covering 8-10 test series in maybe 8-10 days. Sometimes the calculation goes like this only. Okay? It's tried and tested. This is the calculation. And that's it for prelims, I think. Okay? We'll move to mains. See, generally, mains is very crucial. Although, because there are a lot of elimination in prelims round itself, so we tend to think that the mains prelims is very important. It actually is. But when it comes to mains, no, there these materials like economic survey and all will play important role. And fortunately, because of Yadav sir's help and all, this paper 3 have always been very good to me. ठीक है? And the materials like economic survey and all, I'll tell you the specific examples, specific questions last year, which year I got selected, and even for this year in 2016 also. That how these materials like economic survey and all can be used, can be inserted and all. And what is the benefit, where all we can use it. ठीक है? See, in mains, the materials will remain the same. These all will be more important. ठीक है? This test series. ठीक है? And the mains in 365 that will come. Because I personally, for me, this was the material, because I personally did not make any concrete notes as such during the whole preparation. For me, the ready-made material has always been very helpful. Because these are available in the market, thin material, ready-made and all. So the work has already been done by someone. You just have to use it. So the materials was like this only. Mota mota yahi tha. And see, in mains, no, the test series is very important. But before this, the covering of basics, otherwise you will keep getting very less marks. And as our friend says that, you know, it takes somewhere around 12 minutes, 15 minutes to cover one question. Okay, why does it happen in mains? Because you do not have much idea of that question. Then only this happens. Second, you do not have much practice, you know, that how to write these questions. Every mains answer will have 3 parts. You know, this I generally make. The core, okay? The basics that you will be covering will come here. For example, the governor questions that generally comes. You know, few specific articles as I wrote, you know, 155 is appointment, 156 removal, the discretionary power is 163, something like that. It will come under core. And whatever the current affairs which is happening, why this question has been asked, because there is problem in Uttarakhand, there is problem in Arunachal Pradesh and all. Okay? There is problem now happening in Chennai. So something like that. So this current affairs will be second part. And third, you know, the masala that we will put in. Okay? The masala will come from economic survey and all, these reports and all. That you will say that even Punchi Commission report has suggested about this. Sarkaria Commission has suggested about this. Okay? The game is very simple in mains. You just have to increase your marks by half, 1 in every question. That's it. There are 20 questions, right? You just have to increase your marks by 20, 25, 15, something like that in each paper. And the game is done. Okay? Nobody is studying, you know, all these materials and all. We'll discuss that how this can be done. Okay? See, 15 marks, let's say 10 marks in each paper that you are increasing, just by increasing half marks in every question. And we'll discuss how this half marks can be increased. Okay? Half marks is how much? 10 marks in each paper of GS. So 40 marks. You know, and the mains marks is like your bell-shaped curves. This gap, no, this, forget about outliers, this gap is not much, 60-70 marks, that's it. The game is over there. You have less than that, you are out. You have in between, you get good marks, and forget about these. यहाँ पे gap ज़्यादा होता है. ठीक है? I think it's visible in the last. So the whole game is about this 60-70, incremental 60-70 marks, that's it. ठीक है? So the smart people who are getting selected every year focus on this only. Okay? This the basic has already been covered. Now we focus on this only. And even if you have first attempt, you cover the basics and focus on this. You cover this. Okay? And focus on these two now. That we are discussing, no? That after in prelims we devote 2-3 months, or the veterans will devote 1 month approximately. But after prelims, no, we just focus on this. Okay? If you start covering this there in the 3-4 months that you have, either you won't get the call or you won't get the final selection. The game is very clear. It's very simple. you cover the current affairs, you put all those materials, mals, masala, whatever you have in the market, then only you will get this 1.5 marks, 1 marks, 2 marks extra, and you are into the zone. Okay? Okay. Now, how to use all these things? And there are only 2 problems. You know, how to complete the paper. Okay? And for this 12-15 minutes has to come down to 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes, right? First. Second, how to make this triangle, you know, come to reality in our paper. Okay? How to use these 2 materials. The extra thing that you are putting in. Otherwise, people, you know, keep on giving mains year on year. They are even getting the interview calls, but the final selection is not happening because these 2 things has not been properly utilized. And the practice. And third, how to keep it balanced. You know, you somehow, if you are not getting good marks or average marks also in all the papers, essay for example, one of my friends have asked. So if the balance marking is not there, no, unless until you are Rachit Raj, you won't be getting selected. Okay? So this balancing thing has to be done. So these 3 things are, I think, is very important for mains. And now how to complete the paper, right? It's very important. Generally, in first attempt, even in last attempt, we are not able to complete the paper. All these 20 questions, nobody is able to complete. Let me tell you this. Maybe they are completing, they are writing all 20, but the quality cannot be 100%, or whatever they desire, it will not come. So we target somewhere around 18 questions. Okay? 1 or 2 questions will like McBride Commission and all, the allelopathy and all. So we are very happy when we see this kind of questions. No, we are very happy. चलो ये तो इसमें सोचना ही नहीं है. Time is saved. ठीक है, कोई नहीं लिखेगा. So that question is out of the zone, out of the game. So we are very happy with those kind of questions. चलो time ही बच गया अपना. So we generally target this 18 questions only. We write somewhere average answers. Nobody is writing perfect answers. Everybody is writing 18. This very average. You see answers of Tina Dabi and all. These are not perfect answers. Because in test series, no, we write the whole paper in 3.5 hours. We write perfect answers. But people are checking, they'll give you average marks and all. But only in test series you can write perfect answers, not in mains, not in the exam hall. So no need to write perfect answers. Otherwise, it will take even not just 15 minutes. It will take 20 minutes for one question itself. Let me tell you this. Okay, no need to write perfect answer. Just remember these 3 things. Okay, it's very important. I'll highlight this. Okay. I think time is less. So the answer will must have this basic thing. After practice, no, you'll know that these are the core things that I need to cover all these 3 things. If you miss one thing, the marks will be lesser and lesser. If you cover this only, the marks will be, out of 12.5, the marks will be 4 only, not more than that. In 4, if you get 20 questions, 18 questions that you have attempted, how much? 72. 60, 70 people are getting this much only. Let me tell you this, 60, 70, 80. Barring 2,000, 2,500 people are getting this much only marks, 60, 70, 80. They are not getting interview calls. Okay? And those who are getting 100 marks are getting calls, are getting converted and all. You have to target this much only. Even in test series people will not give this much of marks. They are afraid, So they won't give you this much off. Forget about test series. Test series, you are getting somewhere around 80, 70, you should feel happy. So they give average marks only. In UPSC, if you have covered this, they'll give you 100, more than that also. Okay? So now how to use this current affairs? Current affairs materials you will be getting from these 365 materials and all the newspaper that you are covering. And one thing that I would like to highlight, covering the newspaper on your own will not be that productive. Okay? There are already ready-made materials in the market. Mains 365 is there. Insights, guys are doing so much of labor. So use them. Okay? And insights, don't write daily answers. I see this tendency of specifically the first attempt and all, they waste a lot of time attempting inside questions daily. I think it takes a lot of time. If you cover it, you might have seen it will take somewhere around 2-3 hours daily. So personally, I have felt that it is not that productive. If you are able to do it well enough, but it is not that productive. The productive will be to take the secure compilation in the market or whatever is coming, read it in 2-3 days. Yeah. The whole month will be covered in 2-3 days. 4 days, 5 days, let's say 7 days also. So you'll be saving a lot of time there. And plus, if you are doing it at one stretch, in let's say 7 days, you will be covering one paper. Okay? If you are doing it daily, you are just keeping it in memory. Okay? It will not come into the exam hall.
Are you attempting all these questions or are you reading through them? The best answer?
I am just reading through them. I personally read through them only. I don't attempt. Yeah. Questions and topic wise. Okay? Let's say in paper 3, the infrastructure I generally do, I keep 2-3 months together. I don't even do monthly. Okay? Because now the time is we are already in service. So we keep 2-3 months at the same time. They generally come also 2-3 months compilation. So for infrastructure, you have questions for 2-3 months. That will be somewhere around, for infrastructure specifically, there will be almost 20 questions. Okay? So if you cover 20 questions, that topic is covered. Okay? The beauty is this. Otherwise, if you are doing daily, there is no flow. Okay? One question will be from climate. The next question will be women justice and something like that. So there is no flow. But if you have mastered it over a period of time, if you have been doing it, do it. But personally for me, I have tried it but failed. So I have adopted this approach. Okay?
Do it from January onwards for whatever
Yeah, from December onwards. Because till December we have already covered in mains. So from December onwards we generally do it for inside secure.
How frequently you are revising these parts, security compilation?
Not much. You are not able to revise. I was in job also before that. So not much, 1 or 2 times. But within the period only you will be, because you are giving test series also. So before going test series you will cover, simply see the material, okay, this is there, you will do that. Okay?
Sir, how to develop the habit of answer writing if we are not writing answers on a daily basis?
That's what I said, no? Ma'am, you need not to write answers on a daily basis. If you are doing it, you have been doing it good enough, you do not have to do it on a daily basis. It will take a lot of time. The problem is managing time, especially if you have first attempt or something like that. Okay? You do not have that time. You must be having the newspaper, the Hindu. You'll understand, you'll read what Kejriwal is doing and all. So it will take 1 and 2 hours, 1 hour or something like that. You do insights also, it will take 2-3 hours. Less than that, it will not be effective. Okay? So 4-5 hours is gone. If you have classes, then another 2-3 hours is gone there. At the end of the day, you won't be getting much. Okay? So personally, I have felt that writing inside secure, many people are doing it, have been getting good scores also. But personally, for me, it has not been very helpful. Maybe I would have been lazy or something like that. But personally, I read it, take it from the market, complete it in 3-4 days, that's it. And then revise whenever test series comes for that particular topic or something like that. Okay? So we'll go through a bit quickly now. Okay? Inside secures, we must be doing test series also. For mains, they are conducting sectional test series. Even this Vikas Ranjan sir will be doing and all those. Those sectional test series, if you see, for example, if you are reading geography, okay, you have made a plan that you are covering geography today. There are 2-3 approaches of covering geography. You start from NCERT, okay? You do that the basics is done. Okay? Then you take this test series material for specifically geography section. Okay? You know now, after completing this test series section, that what are the main topics which is going to be asked in climatology. Okay? Cyclone is there. So the specific concrete topics that you know now, which has been asked, forget about the answer now. You're just knowing the question now. Okay? Then somewhere around you go attempt test series. Now you know that what kind of answer that you have to write. Okay? So this is how it goes. ठीक है? For paper 1 and all, inside secure material is not that. Inside secure will help mainly in paper 2 and 3. GS paper 2 and 3. ठीक है? Vision will help in all. Test series material will help in all. Whatever test series material you have, it will help in all. And see, now we will come to this part. ठीक है? Current affairs we have already done from this and all. This, the final, you know, if you target this, no, and the extra, the incremental 1.5 marks, 2 marks, 1 marks that you are targeting now for selection, you know, you just have to focus on this. Not just, but you must have to focus on this, covering these two parts. Okay? What? See, the game goes like this. If you write a committee's name, no, for example, economic survey. This year, economic survey has suggested that labor movement has been happening in India. ठीक है? 9 million, sir must have told you, 9 million people by the railway data has been going around in the whole country. You have the map also. The Delhi itself covers almost 50% of in migration. UP and Bihar covers almost 50% of out migration. You know this. And there one question comes in paper 1, for example. It has already come in 2014 also. That how this migration, you know, affects the target and source both. And how this is covering the sociology part, social part and all. Okay? So you know this is the data this economic survey has talked about. No need to remember all these ideas and all. The research that has been gone around, how railway data has been used and all. These are all waste. Forget about it. Okay? What you need to remember, after a period of time you will keep remembering this, that this is the data, 9 million that I have got. Remember this. Okay? Bihar, UP gives 50%, combining these two states only. Delhi getting 50%. Okay? So if you remember this, just quote it. Okay? Economic survey 2017, 16, whatever it is, recent economic survey has talked about labor movement in the country, and contrary to the popular perception, it has been a huge number, 9 million people, and it has been helping, you know, it's an integrating force for the country, but at the same time income and health is not converging. Okay? There is a chapter for this also. So we have to do something about it. Based on the demand of the question, you will write that how this can be converged. And just write, quote it. If they see this economic survey word no, they'll compel you to give 1.5 marks extra. Okay? If they just see this economic survey this person has quote, they'll compel to give half marks extra. Just 1 point. Okay? Give 1 bullet, write. Economic survey this much has talked about this. So smart work, that's it. You don't have to remember all those analysis and all. Just quote it and they'll give half marks extra. If you do correlate with the answers very beautifully, have done the analysis, they'll give 1 marks extra. Okay? Similarly, I'll tell you the specific questions of last year. Maybe I have it. See, in mains, no, in paper 3, there are 7-8 questions. Plus also, maybe somewhere 10 questions specifically from core economy part. Okay? Including agriculture and all. And out of these 7, 8, 10 questions, you can use in 5 questions, 4-5 question economic survey. In all years, I have seen it, I have done it. 4-5 questions you will be able to use economic survey data, analysis, whatever it comes. ठीक है? So in 5 questions, ये 5 questions में अगर आपको half marks भी मिलते हैं, 1 marks भी मिलते हैं, so you are incrementally getting 5 marks. It is very important. Let me tell you this. I have IRS IT. I was just 7 marks short of getting IPS. ठीक है? Just 27 marks of lesser than getting IAS. ठीक है? So if you are competing there, no, these 5 marks in one paper will make a huge difference. And it's not just full paper. It's just half of it. The 10 questions is still left. Okay? So you are getting 5 marks extra over there. And the game is changed. Okay? Then and there only. I'll tell you specific examples very briefly. It's not opening. For example, last year there was a question that how this jobless growth, it keeps coming. ठीक है? Jobless growth questions keep coming. Last year only, economic survey has specific chapter for this jobless growth. This year also they have talked about some kind of labor, that how there is one chapter for apparel industry, shoe industry, leather industry, how it can give some productive employment and how this jobless growth can be changed. So just quote that chapter, quote that the keyword that you have. Keyword is what? For example, in this chapter, what is the keyword? Textile, whatever. For example, you have question in paper 2, ठीक है? That there's some kind of urban local bodies question, ठीक है? You have a specific chapter, dedicating to this only, in this competitive sub-federalism. Remember this keyword, competitive sub-federalism, ठीक है? Quote it, write it everywhere. Wherever you find opportunity, write it. Economic survey has talked about not just competitive federalism, but competitive sub-federalism, where the cities are the dynamos of growth. ठीक है? These are the cities, if you implement just technology. Questions keep coming from technology, how this digital India will be used. ठीक है? Right, the quote examples of economic survey. That how economic survey of this year has talked about that how using just satellite technology in property tax, you can increase your revenue 5 to 20 times. It has been done in few examples, quote examples of also, the Bangalore example, whatever they have given. It has been done. You just write one sentence, 1.5 marks, 1 marks is increased, then and there only. ठीक है? The person not just know the core basics, but the person is applying and also doing this. ठीक है? Then the understanding of the evaluator is that the person has done some analysis and applying these knowledge in the question. The person has understood the question. ठीक है? So the point is this. Similarly, there are questions, there are topics this year also. For example, this ad curse, RRT curse, resource distribution curse, natural resource curse. Use these keywords, no? That we have this, but like for example, questions come that there are huge disparity. ठीक है? The eastern states, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, has not seen much of growth in whatever phases of growth that we have. Neither in green revolution, neither in the industrial revolution or the globalization that we have post 90s. So what can be done for them? ठीक है? So we say that they have been some kind of, for example, northeast states. There is an ad curse, the economic survey talks about chapter 13. ठीक है? That you are giving resource redistribution is happening, but the benefit is not coming. They are not getting developed. In fact, it has given negative effect to their growth. ठीक है? Write it, quote it, write it, marks will increase. ठीक है? And also, so this is how you can use materials. ठीक है? Read any chapters, you will get something. For example, last year we had this year also they have talked about twin balance sheet problem. They have talked about 4R, they had talked about it last year. Last year there was a question on this, jobless growth only. Last year economic survey had given two keywords, that premature deindustrialization, missing middle. There were these two keywords in the economic survey itself. And they had this whole one chapter dedicated to jobless growth and all. Quote that chapter, write these two keywords, the question is complete. The basic thing everybody would write here. This core basic thing that we have been doing, jobless growth, the economic elasticity is not there. The main growth factor is coming from industry and all, which is capital intensive. The labor intensive industry has not been growing. Everybody will write it. But the X factor will come from these masala, these other keywords that you are putting in. ठीक है? It's like, cooking a recipe. You have raw materials. Everybody has this rice. ठीक है? Everybody has vegetables. But the the quantity that you put in of all the masala, everything, the food is different. ठीक है? It's like that only. Everybody has this core basics. Many of you will also be having these two also. but some kind of new thing that you are adding, then and there it will make the difference. The game is this simple only, not beyond that. There are many questions. Last year there was questions from this is 2016 only. Comment on the challenges of inclusive growth, which includes careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. Suggest measures to be taken. The point is, see, we can go on quoting the examples and all. The point is this only, that remember the keywords that the economic survey has talked about. Don't remember the analysis, the underlying analysis and all. Those are for economists. And particularly this year economic survey is not that great. You must have realized at this point of time. Last year or till last to last year we had very good economic survey, but this year it has become more of literary, more of their own pursuit. It is not very related to our syllabus. But still, there are 3 sections in the economic survey that you can talk about. The general information, the outlook, what is happening in the economy and all. Second will be the related to syllabus, like public finance, budget and all, monetary policy, it has been talked about. Third, the policy areas that they have discussed, like for example, universal basic income that they have discussed. For example, labor that they have discussed. Jobless growth they have discussed. So these are specific policy area. This policy area will help you in the exam. Okay? Will help you in getting extra marks, will help you in getting selected. The game is this much. Okay? So this was, I think, this I wanted to highlight. And I think this much only. Anything extra that you want to ask?
Paper 4.
Paper 4 we'll discuss. Okay. Paper 4 and essay is also missing.
Sir, current affairs for 3 should be covered from which month?
We have extra 15.
अच्छा we have. ठीक है. Prelims current affairs, right? From which month? ठीक है. Anything more?
If a question is repeated among different papers,
Smart cities and all we
you
had.
have the same answer or you have a different perspective?
See, the material is the same. This core materials remains the same, right? What you change now is the tone of answer based on in which paper it is. Like for example, in if this urban flood,
CM you will be
urban flood, CM is what?
Smart Cities Mission and
SM, ठीक है. Smart cities and all was asked in multiple papers, right? If you write about, let's say for example, it is in paper 1. ठीक है, you write more about, you must understand from which topic they have asked it. Smart city in paper 1 can be asked in sociology part. ठीक है, you write more about sociology, that how these cities should not be walled cities. ठीक है, how this must be inclusive, how this must include women security. ठीक है, how this must include the elders, this labor migration, labor problem. So you must understand from which topic particularly they have asked this. If it comes in paper 3, for example, smart city, you'll write about more of economic aspect. ठीक है, this how these smart city will help in achieving 8 to 10% growth. ठीक है, how will integrate economic activities. ठीक है, this is how we'll write, but not much on women security, because in paper 3 it does not make much sense, right? So we'll talk about how the smart cities will integrate all the activities, the informal sector will be formalized. ठीक है? So in paper 3, if it comes in paper 4, for example, in worst case, what will we do in smart cities? ठीक है? In paper 4 it comes, you'll write more about child labor. ठीक है? This how this smart city will fill capitalistic growth. ठीक है? The social sector will be marginalized. There, so some ethical governance has to be there. Something. Sorry?
Paper 4 would be similar to paper 1.
It will be paper 4 more of more. आप थोड़ा उसमें dialogues लिखेंगे ज़्यादा paper 4 में. That's it. ठीक है? It will be similar to paper 1 only. Yeah. And for example, urban flood come, you will do the same. This how this urban flood, the most affected people are the most vulnerable ones. ठीक है? Urban people, it comes in paper 3, we'll talk about disaster management. We'll quote that this Sendai agreement has happened, this we have come up with national plan, national policy and all this. The urban flood is a separate kind of disaster from now on. So we'll talk about this, but not in paper 1. If it comes in paper 1, we'll talk about more of the labor problem and all those things. ठीक है, whatever. Remember the syllabus also. Remember the topics. ठीक है. That in paper 1 the syllabus is globalization, the woman problem, the social problem, the main, the middle one, and also they have in paper 1 this geographical disturbances and all. There is one topic. It's there in geography part. They have this geographical phenomena, typical geographical phenomena. You talk about that. It's a geographical phenomena, urban flood, which is causing in recent time because of unplanned urbanization. Urbanization is also a topic there. Because of unplanned urbanization, it is causing havoc, as we have seen, not just in India but throughout world over. ठीक है? And the most vulnerable people is the marginalized, disadvantaged people. That's all. ठीक है? And for current affairs prelims, that one of our friend asked, current affairs prelims you will be covering from vision material and all. ठीक है? Which month? It will be, I think, covering from December maybe, because see, it does not depend on the specific. In prelims, no, current affairs does not come period wise. It will come somewhere like, no, IMF is related with this, IMF does this specific government, this multilateral organization does what. So it would not be very period specific. ठीक है? So you keep on covering, but I personally don't think it will be period specific, like from December to June it will be covered. It's not like that in prelims specifically. In mains it will happen, but in prelims it will not be period specific. But what we cannot go on covering all those, 1 year or 2 year. So better to cover for somewhere around 9-10 months. ठीक है? Starting from June. ठीक है? Yeah.
If we are reading the Visions and 365, so how much time should be given for newspaper?
See, न्यूज़पेपर हिंदू तो बहुत कॉस्टली हो गया, छोड़ दो अब तो. हाँ, इंडियन एक्सप्रेस ले सकते हो. ठीक है? वेरी गुड न्यूज़पेपर. इंडियन एक्सप्रेस इज द न्यू हिंदू इन ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स. ठीक है? सो उसको हटाते हैं. 1 घंटे लगाओ मैक्सिमम यार न्यूज़पेपर में. ठीक है? नॉट मोर देन दैट, बिकॉज अदरवाइज विल बी. 1 घंटे भी बहुत होते हैं. आप सिर्फ 2-3 आर्टिकल ही तो पढ़ने होते हैं. You just first of all you open the newspaper. No, don't start reading it. First, in all the seats, you recognize that what are the topics that is helpful to your syllabus. ठीक है? And write it there, because you have personalized newspaper. You can write it there. ठीक है? Write with a pen. Start, read newspaper with a pen. ठीक है? Start that this is for paper 1 and this topic I'll read it. ठीक है? This will help you in what, many ways. Because if you have recognized, no, this will help in paper 1 this topic, then once you are going through the topic, you will keep jotting down or in your mind only that this is how this is going to help me. ठीक है? If you get some keyword, you'll remember it. ठीक है? This keyword I'll use in paper 1 in this topic. ठीक है? So I think 1 hour will be more than enough for the newspapers. It should not be more than that. ठीक है? And don't bother about much, how much time, because it's not fixed. In, for example, newspaper of Sunday, nothing comes. The one Chidambaram article will be there in Indian Express. These all will be there. So nothing much comes on Sunday. So it should not be very concrete, very fixed that I'll devote 1 hour. You start watch and do the paper reading. This should not be like that. But you should not be devoting much of your time. I generally do it online. I just surf 2-3 websites. That's it. ठीक है? And then I focus on this Insight, Secure, Vision, test materials and all, because this will save a lot of time. But yes, just to be aware about what is happening in your surrounding, what is happening in polity, economy, you must go through newspaper. That is required. But making a notes out of it now is not required. ठीक है? The strategy and all should be changed now. Earlier it was people were cutting the newspaper, jotting down, they were making their own notes. These all been doing, believe me, these all activity has been done by these people only now. ठीक है? They are doing this. Vision, some of my friends are there in Vision, they are doing it. ठीक है? To use their labor, why you are using it, why you are doing it on your own. ठीक है? So do not devote much of your time on newspaper and all. because time is very crucial here. After one attempt or two attempts, you will realize this, that managing time was the most important or is the most important now. ठीक है, wasting it on unnecessary things, ठीक है, will be very regretting after some point of time. You will lose one attempt, two attempts, then you will get selected. Then you would think why I did not got the selection in the very first attempt itself. But the problem was this only. You devoted a lot of time in newspaper. For example, some of you might have lifted this economic political weekly also. That's some extra intellectual thing, I'll get it from there. ठीक है, कुरुक्षेत्र योजना is required. ठीक है, कुरुक्षेत्र leave it, EPW leave it, the big reports leave it. ठीक है, do some smart work, otherwise it's a huge task. You'll keep on doing things, you'll do a lot of work. Many of us are doing that. ठीक है, there is no dearth of hard work. Believe me, in old Rajendra Nagar, people are doing so much of work. You go to any library, people are reading like crazy. ठीक है, but the selection will happen of 1,000 people only, not more than that, right? So this whole strategy lies in doing some smart work, some amount of smart work. ठीक है, do not think of yourself very smart, ठीक है, and miss this. ठीक है, be a bit foolish but cover this. Be foolish in covering this. Read like crazy when you are doing this, core and basics. ठीक है, if you do smart work there, no, this whole plan, this whole game will crumble. ठीक है, be very crazy if you are doing first attempt, you are giving first attempt, you are covering this. Cover from everywhere, spectrum. If you are covering from some other topics, well enough. I won't say that don't cover, do smart work here. Be very foolish when you are covering basics. But if you are doing current affairs from Yojana, from all these things, this won't help. Here, this is why which is small. Here smart work is needed. ठीक है, otherwise it's like balance. You do hard work here, ठीक है, you do very smart work, very selective here. Otherwise there is no end of here, no, because basics material is very concrete, ठीक है, but here there is no end. How much reports you will keep on covering? There is no end. There is no end of economic survey like material. There is no end of current affairs. You will cover vision, the GS score will come, the Wajiram will come. There is no end of it. So there, the necessity is also there that you cannot do this. At the same time, the smart approach is this only. You just do smart work over there. Don't be smart here. Otherwise, this whole thing will crumble. Because superstructure can be built on this only. This is the foundation. Cover all the materials that whatever you get your hands on. ठीक है? Because see, after first attempt, no, this will be covered. Unless until you have done very good work in your first attempt, you have covered this, you will keep on giving attempts. This is why you will meet people who have given 3-4 mains. You have given 3 attempts also, 3 interviews also, but they are now getting selected because somewhere or the other, this core basics is missing. They have covered this. The people who are giving mains and all will cover this only. But after 1 or 2 attempts, no, you will not touch spectrum beyond 3-4 days. Believe me. Because spectrum you will find very boring. After first 2 attempts, 3 attempts, you will find very boring. इसमें क्या पढ़ना है? ये तो पढ़ा हुआ है. But in between lines you have not read in the first attempt. ठीक है? But you think that you have covered spectrum. You have covered Lakshmikant. ठीक है? So first attempt is very important for covering basics. ठीक है? Don't focus much on this now. If you are giving first attempt, if you have not covered this, don't focus much on this now. You can do it after prelims. ठीक है? Current affairs do very selectively for prelims also, because in prelims they have been asking this. But do not do much of current affairs, much of Yojana analysis and all for prelims. ठीक है? Don't touch EPW like materials. Never. Not in prelims, not in mains, not in interview. It will waste a lot of time. It may be useful, but waste a lot. The ROI, return on investment, is very less. ठीक है? Any questions? ठीक है, अब ऐसे को बात कर लेते हैं. ठीक. थोड़ा सा, हाँ. essay has become very important. People are saying this. It is very true also. ठीक है सर, तो यहाँ अच्छा करवाते भी हैं, विजन विकास सर अच्छा करवाते हैं ऐसे. The essay has to be very simple. The approach for essay has to be very simple. If you complicate it in preparation itself, the essay will be complicated, you won't get marks. ठीक है. If you start writing essay in exam hall, no, it has to be very simple approach that you have to do this. The framework has to be very clear. The idea has to be very clear. The clarity of thought is never the most important when it comes to essay. The clarity of thought has to be there. Otherwise, there won't be flow. You know, you must have heard that in essay flows are checked, the logical coherence is checked and all. ठीक है. It won't come unless until you are very clear in your thoughts in preparation itself. That what kind of preparation you have to do it for essay. And now, what is that clarity of thought, right? Essay, nothing specific preparation has to be done specifically for essay. ठीक है. Whatever we are reading in our mains or prelims, that will be very helpful in essay. Specifically, if you have some optionals like public administration, sociology, for example, political science and IR, those background will help in essay, no doubt. ठीक है. People from economics or science will be a bit of disadvantageous position. That is true. Because the art of writing answers, the art of correlating all these things will come more if you have optionals like this. Humanities optional. Preparation for essay specifically should be done. It should start from from anywhere, from any coaching institute or any selected candidates. You just understand the framework that how essay should be written. ठीक है. Start from very basic, that it will cover the intro part, the body, ठीक है, and the conclusion. You know this. Everybody does this. ठीक है. Be very clear with the framework. What kind of framework generally I'll adopt in my essay. Stick to that. Because see, essay in the context of UPSC is not that literary essay that we have to write. Even we can use the flow chart at least once. Not more than that. Once or twice we can use flow chart. The points and all we can use. So sorry. There the materials like economic survey can be helpful. ठीक है. The putting materials in the body and all. But first be very thoughtful with your framework. Practice it multiple times, 2-3 times, write essays. Be very clear what kind of framework you specifically will adopt. Many people has done in intro, they start from story. Many people start from code. Many people from figures. ठीक है. Figures from economic survey, figure from every other things. So be very thoughtful that generally what suits you. ठीक है. Why I'm saying, I'll write it more clearly here. Make your own personalized framework. This is my point. ठीक है. What generally suits you, what you are good at. Intro, body, conclusion. ठीक है. So this is the framework that we are talking about. Know your strength, that in what kind of introduction your strength lies. Maybe you are good at storytelling, maybe you have read many novels and all, you might have hobby of novel reading. So you might be good in storytelling. So start with a story. Read some essays of maybe Kailash Satyarthi has given in novel speech with a story, beautiful story. Read that. Start something like that. ठीक है. Read this, his novel speech, you read it. It's very good. It will help you in essay. So start from story. If you have mastered it, very good. ठीक है. The whole essay can be integrated in a thread of this story. Let me tell you this, people are doing it. ठीक है. You start with a story and how the journey of story goes, your essay will go. ठीक है. Finally you will conclude thus the protagonist should do this, and your essay, the conclusion would be that only. ठीक है. So you can do that with story if it suits you. you can start, if you do not have that literary instinct, literary attitude, start with one quote. It's very safe approach. I have been doing it. Okay, I am not that literary, not that fluent in writing essays. I have been getting somewhere around 120s, 130s. Okay? But not more than that. I have tried well enough, not getting more than this. I think average marks. Okay? But start with quote. Remember 20-30 quotes. I have a list of quotes. I remember it helped in paper 4 also. Okay? Because this year the Gandhi 7 sin has come, because I remembered, so I wrote it. Many people did not remember all the 7 sins. So remember these quotes, have a list of quotes. If you are not doing this story thing, okay, write quotes. Gandhi will help you everywhere. Okay? Gandhi ji, right, in every topic he has given quotes, no? In environment, the earth has everything for needs, greeds and all. Okay? For caste, for this Swaraj, the kind of governance you need is Swaraj. Okay? He has given for everything. You give me a paper of GS, I'll give you 2-3 quotes of Gandhiji itself. Okay? Remember quotes. Gandhiji will be very helpful. And if you can quote Kalam, for example, okay, Martin Luther King Jr. and all, so this will help. So remember quotes from these great personality. It will help you. If you write them, they won't deny it. The beauty of these thinkers is this: whatever you write in the name of this, as similar to whatever you write in the name of economic survey, they won't deny it. ठीक है? ऐसे जनरली क्या होता है ना, वो हंसते हैं फिर, हाँ, कि ये क्या लिखा, बट इनको लिख दोगे इनका नाम, they won't laugh, they won't deny it, they will accept it. ठीक है? तो write these quotes. Or some, if you start generally, in general essay, these are very beautiful essays, but with some general approach, like with some thinker's name, some definition. People start from definition also. Okay? Like capitalism does not give inclusive growth. Can it give inclusive growth? People start from definition of inclusive growth or definition of capitalism. Okay? So this is general approach. These 3 approach can only be there. What I have witnessed is these 3 approach only for introduction. So in the essay test series or in whatever you write in your home, recognize your strength and weakness. Okay? If you are good at story writing, if you are good at remembering quotes, writing it, these 2 are safe approach. Okay? These are relatively conservative in nature. You can do these 2. Remember quotes, start from there. Whatever most suited quote is there, write it, start it from there. So definition, some figures, like this percentage is there. Our capitalism has given 2% of Oxfam report, you quote it in this economic growth only. Okay? Quote it like this and start your essay. This can be done. Okay? So whatever your strength is, you fix your introduction. It will help immensely because you won't be confused in exam. And once introduction is done, you are done with introduction, you will feel very happy in your mains exam. Let me tell you this. Okay? Because this takes a lot of time in exam. If you start writing introduction, how to start here? It happens in questions also. It will take 1 or 2 minutes goes in deciding what kind of introduction I'll write in mains question also. So if you are thorough that I'll write with this only. There's no wrong in that. Have a fixed approach, have a fixed criteria. I'll write this, I'll write quote. Unless until अब कुछ quote याद ही नहीं आ रहे, कुछ नहीं मिल रहा. Start with general then. ठीक है? Now coming to body. You will master it over a period of time. That how there are multiple angles that you need to cover in body. Generally people do that political, social, economic, cultural, environmental, these things must be there in body. Plus, like they call it this, you must have heard, political, economic, social, cultural, technological, whatever, environment and all. Okay? You cover this, you try to cover this, unless until the topic is very unique, but these all angles will come in body. Plus, whatever the current biggest problem that the world is facing, what? The terrorism, refugee crisis, the climate change, incorporate these things into essay. ठीक है? Give me any example, I will incorporate these things. Give me any essay. You can do this, believe me. You will be able to include Naxalism in India. Whatever topics is there. The topic is on governance, Naxalism will be there. The topic is on economics, Naxalism can come there. The inclusive growth is not happening. The topic is on security, it will definitely be there. The topic is on technology, Naxalism will be there. That how drones and all can be used. So remember these. It's a very traditional approach. Remember this. You have to do this. You have to incorporate terrorism. No essay at this point of time can be completed without terrorism, because these gives you examples. No, this gives you fodder. The terrorism is happening. The refugee crisis in Europe is happening. In India also it is happening. We are suffering from many migrants, illegal, legal or whatever. Climate change, the disaster. These all can be used, and this will give you a practical touch to your essay. ठीक है? It won't be literary. It will give you a basic minimum floor of marks. ठीक है? The marks will be beyond that only. It cannot come lesser than this. If you have incorporated this, you have followed a framework. It won't come less than 120, 110. ठीक है? If you are good at writing, it will go 140. Otherwise, it won't come less than that. Be very assured of this. If you are covering this, if you are getting good marks, everywhere else you are getting 120, you are through. ठीक है? And conclusion writing is not that a great deal. Relate with introduction. You have started with story, then end the story here. Don't leave the story for examiner or the evaluator. End it here only. ठीक है? If you have started with quote, you can end with the quote, some other quotes. The Tagore is very helpful in ending, conclusion. See, what I tell you, no, I have been very smart in all these things, because this is not my strength area. Essay is not my strength. ठीक है? So I have developed a fixed approach over a period of time, and there is nothing great about it. That's why I am getting somewhere around 130 only, 120, 130. So you will get this. I'm not very good at writing. I'm getting good marks in GS only. But if you apply this, it's a very traditional approach, very conservative. The floor is set. It can go beyond that only. It won't come less than that. This idea of my essay is this only. I cannot help beyond this, I think. ठीक है? और कुछ? हाँ, paper 4. I've been getting good marks in paper 4. I'll tell you about paper 4 now. ठीक है? एथिक्स के ना आप सिलेबस तो याद कर लो पहले. Remember the syllabus. ठीक है? Because syllabus has 2-3 distinct parts in ethics. There is part of ethics that the thinkers and all, the first one chapter, I guess, ethics and values. Then there is the lower ones, the last portion of the essay. It's from public administration. It's from administrative topics. And the बीच में emotional intelligent attitude again ये सब है. ठीक है? So these 3 topics is there. Remember all the topics. Remember the keywords, what are there. Remember the values. These are foundational values of public service or the civil service, whatever they have written. Remember all those first. Compassion, integrity, on all those things. Remember those things first. Because many of you are in the starting phase of preparation, so that's why I'm focusing on this. Remember those keywords of the syllabus first. This will help you in framing the answer. Paper 4 is all about framing the answer. This will help you there. And then do not focus much on this part. People waste a lot of time on ethics and values part. We discussed now there is 3 parts. Okay, ethics and values, the middle ones like emotional intelligence, attitude and all, and the administrative parts. Do not focus much on this. If you read any book now, you will be confused in this part. You will be stuck in this part only. ठीक है? If you start from thinkers, they'll tell you deontological, they'll tell you teleological, justice, ethics, Aristotle, Plato, you are lost. ठीक है? The game is there. You will leave paper 4. Again, after few days, few months, you will start from here only. Then also you will die in this process only. ठीक है? So don't give much of time here. Similar, that smart approach that we have incorporated other places, Do not give much of time here. Be very specific, very smart in this. Remember that these are few approaches: justice, ethics, teleological, deontological. These are few approaches to judge the ethicality of any action. Okay, that's it. Do not go in what Aristotle has said, what Plato has said, what Socrates has said, and all those things. This is a very small chapter, but very helpful. Okay? This will help you everywhere. It's very small chapter. If you just open the Wikipedia page of emotional intelligence, this chapter will be completed. Mayer and Salovey, Daniel Goleman, you remember? Okay? Write it there. If the question is specifically about emotional intelligence, it is there in the Wikipedia page also. All the material also covers this. Very specific, 7-8 pages in all books. Cover this very beautifully. Remember examples of this. These 2 chapters are important. Small chapters give more time to this, not to this. Okay? Attitude. In every cases, the focus is on change. Right? You must have heard about it also. How to change the attitude towards women, towards society, towards the disadvantaged. How to change the attitude? How to change the attitude of society? How to change the attitude of government people? Okay? The bureaucrats and all. So focus is on change. So this chapter is also very important. Okay? Persuasion is there, social influence. These are modes of changing the attitude. The cases will be on this only. Read the cases. Maximum cases will be either on administrative part or changing the attitude. How the superior's attitude has been changed for the subordinates, for the women subordinates. Okay? Focus on these 2 chapters. Use it, quote it everywhere. Cases will be from this only. And this part, administrative part. If you are from public administration all, this will be very easy. Okay? But this part is borrowed from paper 2 and all. Okay? Whenever you are reading paper 2, social justice, administration and all, remember, keep there in back of your mind that you are reading for paper 4 also. Okay? Keep that in your mind that you are reading this topic for paper 4 also, and how it can be used in paper 4. So this will be covered from there. Now this is about the covering, how you should cover the topics and all, and how to get marks now. Okay? You have covered the topic. Now how will you get the marks? People are getting, this paper 4 is very tricky. People are getting not this, but it's a range. The bill shape in paper 4 is like this. People are getting 110, people are getting 58. Okay? It's like this. So you have to be this in this direction. You covered well, good enough. Now what you do is to use it, right? Whatever you have read, the interlinking ability that we generally talk about in UPSC will be most used in paper 4. Okay? Remember whatever, as we said, the Gandhiji, okay? Kalam, all these will be very helpful in paper 4. He will be helping. He did not just help in getting the independence. He also helped in UPSC aspirants and all. Okay? So remember him. Quote him everywhere. Start your question from Gandhiji's quote. ठीक है? अब तो क्वेश्चन भी डायरेक्टली इन पे आ जाते हैं. 7 sins बताओ इनका. ठीक है? तो remember him. All whatever he has said. Start your questions from this. Plus that the current problem that we have said. ठीक है? Terrorism, climate change. Relate, because the questions are asked like this. There is a quote given. ठीक है? X, Y, Z. How it is relevant in the current context. Current context is what? This only. Current context is how the agriculture is getting affected by climate change. How the farmers are, committing suicide because of climate change and all. How the people from Syria, from Lebanon and all are suffering from terrorism and refugee crisis, the people from Afghanistan. So current relevance is this. What they want to, read and hear from you is this only. The women's security and all. Current relevance is this only. Use your quote in these, justifying the action or solving these problems. What they want to hear is not, garbage current relevance. You are explaining the quotes. ठीक है, the meaning of quotes x y z whatever you have been writing, these will not give you marks. ठीक है, marks will be taken from this. ठीक है, the current relevance that they are suggesting is this. ठीक है, so the quotes question can be answered like this. Remember the few quotations from these people. Remember the current relevance, the current problem that the world in general and India in particular is facing. Use those current problems and how this quote can be helpful. Quote can be from Vivekananda, from thinkers also, maybe Socrates and all. But these all can be used here. Everything can be used here. Yeah. This is so general topic. It can be used. And now coming to the case studies. ठीक है, quotes वाला question difficult होते हैं करना. उसके लिए generally यही approach रखता हूँ मैं. And I generally get good marks. ठीक है, in test series also, in UPSC mains also. अब केस स्टडीज में भी बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक, बहुत ही ट्रेडिशनल अपने को अप्रोच रखना है. ठीक है, बी वेरी क्लियर इन केस स्टडीज ऑल्सो व्हाट यू नीड टू हैव, व्हाट यू हैव टू राइट. डू नॉट गिव दैट मच इंपॉर्टेंस. First write, understand, either you don't write or at least keep in your mind that what are the stakeholders involved in cases. I'll tell you how it is useful. ठीक है, what are the stakeholders? There are majority stakeholders, there are minority stakeholders. The questions will be focused on what are the major stakeholders are there, but at the same time you will get good marks if you do not ignore the sidekicks, not the protagonists but the sidekicks also. The minority stakeholders, the interest of them, if it is included, addressed in the answer, you will get good marks. ठीक है, so the incremental marks you will get from including this also. So recognizing the stakeholder will help you here. First of all, stakeholder you can mention it also. I have been mentioning it, even vision test series also mentions it, that these are stakeholders, and then the issues involved. Generally every case has issues, dilemmas. Recognize it. You will recognize it how? That if you have covered these basic topics, economic emotional intelligence and all, the questions will be from attitude, okay, the personal versus public interest, the interest of career promotion, career growth versus the public good, larger public good and all. So issues and dilemma has to be recognized. Even if you ignore this, you do not write it. Generally we do not get that much of time in exam hall, we do not write it, stakeholder. We just keep in mind, leave it there. But issues and dilemma you must write. ठीक है? It will give clarity of thought to the evaluator also that this, you have understood the topic, you have written it, and now in the question you will explain this only. You will be solving this dilemma. Write it. In the initial phase of your answer, write it. ठीक है? But do not ignore it. This, the mastering of recognizing the issues and dilemma will come from practice. ठीक है? If you understood the basic concepts and all, it will come from there. Write it, the dilemma and all, you write it there. Finally, you try to address this dilemma, keeping in mind that what are the stakeholders. Let's say stakeholder 1, stakeholder 2, stakeholder 3. ठीक है? Stakeholder 1 is facing this dilemma, and here in this point, you write in bullet point also in paper 4. In 1, I am addressing this, I am addressing this, I am addressing this, I am addressing this. So keeping in mind stakeholdership approach will help you here also. You will not forget. ठीक है? Many times you will realize in test series and in exam also that you know the question. You start reading the question, you think that okay, I will write this. You complete the answer, you forget this. You forget whatever you had decided actually. In 10-15 minutes you will forget that. So covering this stakeholdership approach will help you in covering the whole thing. ठीक है? You won't miss anything. And the answer is, the marks is given on the comprehensiveness of your answer. ठीक है? Whether you have covered the stakeholders or not. Whether you have missed the smaller things, you do not have eye for the details. ठीक है? So this is there. I think this is the approach for paper 4, briefly. ठीक है?
Paper 1, the society part, framework for the answer and for preparation, any specific strategies.
ठीक है? For sociology specifically.
In paper 1. Yes.
ठीक है? GS1, the problem is in sociology, we have also faced it. The materials are not very specific. Sociology, this is why you face problem. I understand it. ठीक है. Even if you are from sociology background, sociology optional, there you are reading too much. How to apply in this sociology part? There, then also you face this problem because the materials are for this sociology. No, will this insight secure and all will help you. For paper 1, Insight Secure gives only this, not history, geography, it is not important. The sociology will help you in this, and most importantly, the vision test series or whatever test series, because test series ask questions from sociology with the very current relevance. They'll ask you that how this bill, for example, there's a bill for personnel with disability. ठीक है? They'll ask you, the test series and all will ask you from this. And this is relevant for the sociology part. Sociology, they won't ask the concrete concept. ठीक है? They'll ask the current relevance only. How this globalization has affected the elderly people. ठीक है? They have covered it in test series and all. Did it from there.
Sir, but like questions related to globalization and women issues are also are covered in detail in NCRTs also.
That the 2 NCRT that we have. No, that I remember. I know that particular 2 NCRTs. But this is very basic covered. The current relevance is not there.
For example, in globalization, there are given 8 to 12, 8 to 10 topics. So, sir, if we write the 8 to 10 topics, sir, what more?
ठीक है, I got your point. What he is saying, no, that the 2 sociology that we have in the market, NCRT, they have materials on globalization. All the materials is very specifically. They have materials on the unity and diversity. That is very good. That NCRT will help you in this unity and diversity wala part. Globalization they do not have, they have not covered with that well. ठीक है? Globalization and all. See, the topics are very specific. You can prepare your own material. The point is this: globalization, urbanization, women, person with disability, elderly, and all. These are very specific. Just prepare 2 pages of material. ठीक है? From where I was saying these 3-4 things. ठीक है? Prepare on your own. This will help you immensely. You know, in all attempts, you're giving 1 or 2 attempts, maybe 3 attempts, 4 attempts. This 2-3 pages will help you there. ठीक है? Even many institute material have also done this thing. You can take help from there. They have 4-5 pages material on globalization, 4-5 material on urbanization. But we will have to keep updated from newspaper and inside. Like in urbanization, smart city will come. ठीक है? The many government scheme, JNNU, RM earlier was there, now there are new schemes. Those will come.
Except for the answer for this part specifically, any suggestion?
Sociology answers are very dynamic. I'll tell you about the answer writing this also. Right, in sociology, no, they are not interested in GS paper. They are not interested in reading core concepts. In sociology, they have thinkers, they have core concepts, they have debates going on. Which social policy strategy is good for them. They are not interested in GS. If you write it, sociology guys, you know, people write it, they get less marks. ठीक है? Many of our friends are there. So in GS, they want to ask you that the current affairs, that the current relevance, the problems which are going. ठीक है? Smart cities, they might ask. They might ask anything which is going on current affairs. So because the question's demand is that, so your answer must include all these things. The most part should be dedicated to the current affairs and the current relevance which is going on. I think this is so in sociology. You should not write, because we tend to write in sociology, those general aspects. If you do not have much idea of current affairs and all, we generally have the tendency of writing general things in sociology, but it does not fetch good marks. Write very like engineering people. ठीक है? People from engineering background write very general, specific, very current affairs stuff, and they get good marks in sociology as wala part. I've seen test series and all. So write very general stuff, not general stuff, but current affairs oriented content in your answer. You'll get good marks. ठीक है? Anything you'd like to ask? ठीक है? So that's all I wanted to highlight. Not much of, because many of these things you might have heard. This is not very unique things that I have done. The core idea, let me sum up like this. The core idea is to cover your basics very thoroughly. ठीक है? thoroughly, when I say, it does not mean all the materials that you have in the market. Okay? Thoroughly, the core material that you have, like Spectrum, Bipin Chandra, Lakshmi Kant, this NCRT for geography and all, cover those basics things thoroughly, and be very smart when you read current affairs. These materials like economic survey and all will be very helpful in getting incremental marks. Okay? It will be helpful in prelims also, because they are asking questions in prelims now in debate format. Okay? They are not asking directly facts. In economics, out of 30, 15 questions will be more of factual in nature, but 10 question, 12 question will be more of analysis. Like for example, there was question how this inflation or how this GDP, the trend of GDP. Some question, there was one question related to this. Okay? You will find it from economic survey. That what is the trend of GDP? What is the trend of inflation? Okay? The past trend as well as the future outlook. How this inflation is affected. How this banking industry is getting affected, NP and all. This you will get from economic survey and all those materials. So basics plus these all materials, and be very smart in covering all these things. Remember keywords, use them, you will get good marks. You do not have to remember all those analysis underlying and all. Be very smart in remembering keywords. Whenever you write newspaper also, read newspaper, focus on keywords. Okay? And your work is done. Thank you. Thank you.